Welcome to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. This is a podcast for faithful women who want healing in their relationships, guidance from God, and internal peace. Each week, you'll hear mental health concepts taught through a spiritual lens from me, a licensed clinical mental health counselor, to help you start thinking in a higher and holier way. Welcome. On this episode, we will be discussing part 3 of the 7 sabotagers of your mental health. Now, this is part 3 of 3 in a series. So if you haven't already, check out part 1 and 2 from the last couple weeks' episodes where I talk about the first 6 sabotagers. And I've been spending the month focusing on fortifying your mental health by looking at ways you might be sabotaging it. Your mental health needs to be at the top of your priority list because it affects so many other things in your life. Also, with the winter just around the corner, you want to be ready for those darker, colder months that can really wreak havoc on your mental health. In the last 2 episodes, I covered 6 of those 7 common sabotagers that women are doing to their mental health that really aren't helpful. And I split them up all into 3 different episodes in order to give each of them the time that they really deserve. So today I'm going to outline one giant concept, and this giant concept that's really sabotaging your mental health. And this one has to do with relationships. Okay, so we're going to dive in. This particular sabotager of your mental health that has to do with relationships, I'm calling this sabotager codependent behaviors. Now, as I talk about these behaviors that might be affecting your relationships, it doesn't mean that you are codependent. Sometimes you just develop unhealthy ways of dealing with relationships, and that doesn't mean you're fully codependent. So don't go out there self-diagnosing yourself. This is just awareness info so you can look at ways to help strengthen your mental health rather than sabotaging it. So codependent behaviors are a way of behaving in a relationship where you will persistently prioritize someone else over you. And you often are assessing your mood based on how another person behaves. So the more you focus on providing support that you believe other people need, the more heavily they may begin to lean on you. And over time, that becomes increasingly difficult to disentangle yourself from. So codependent behaviors can eventually lead to a disconnect from your own needs and desires and really promote unhealthy relationship dynamics, which then affect your own self-worth and overall just well-being in general. So that's really very hard on your mental health and can be avoided if you can learn some healthier ways to interact in your relationships. So today I'm going to focus on 3 of the top codependent behaviors that I see people doing that are affecting their mental health. The first behavior is being self-sacrificing. Now, at face value, you might look at self-sacrificing as something that is noble or righteous. Even the scriptures ask us to sacrifice for the greater good, right? And I'm not talking about stopping all behavior that's sacrificing. What I'm talking about is consistently elevating the needs of others above your own. There's 2 key elements there, consistently and above your own needs. So think about that. If you're consistently or ignoring your needs to help others, where does that leave you? It leaves you worn out and exhausted and depleted, right? You're not taking care of what you need, right? We're not talking about wants, we're talking about needs. You are pouring from an empty vessel at that point, right? You aren't able to give the people in a way that they deserve. You're not able to help them in the way that they deserve because you're already worn out, right? Also, this can lead to a disconnect from your own needs and desires and really promote unhealthy relationship dynamics. You start looking at other people's needs above your own, and eventually you don't even know what you need. And so you're so disconnected from the ability to care for your own needs that will start to affect your self-worth and overall well-being. When you develop the habit of taking on more work than you realistically can handle, you end up not helping that person or yourself. And sometimes this needs to be, the need to be self-sacrificing comes from wanting to maybe earn praise from other people. And sometimes it comes from the desire to lighten a loved one's burden, right? However, this becomes problematic when you also have a tendency to minimize or ignore your own desires in the process. This can also eventually lead to feelings of guilt or anxiety when you're doing something for yourself. That's not a great place for your mental health, right? This need to be self-sacrificing comes from the natural man inside of us. The natural man always takes great things about the gospel and mangles them up. Yes, we want to be sacrificing and helping others. And yes, we want to think outside of ourselves, but not consistently above your own needs. The best way to combat this is to get the natural man out of the way and receive revelation from the Savior who knows what is best for the situation. He knows what your needs are, what the other person's needs are, and can convey to you when it's time to take care of you or when it's time to take care of another person. So if you can relate with putting another person's needs before your own, then learning to put the natural man to sleep and receive revelation from the Savior is what will help you stop this behavior so that you can help your mental health. All right, the second codependent behavior you might be doing that is affecting your mental health is excessively focusing on others. Now, again, this is something that can be good in some situations, but in excess or done in the wrong way can really be harmful to your mental health. It becomes problematic when you begin to have excessive concern about a loved one's habits or behaviors. Now, as a parent or a spouse, you may want to help someone make some changes, right? Encouraging, teaching, and guiding are very difficult, are very different from making sure someone else changes a behavior. So people have agency, and making change is hard, right? So allowing others the agency to make changes is allowing them the opportunity to need a savior for that change. Another aspect of focusing on others excessively is finding yourself making decisions for others or trying to manage loved ones doing things you really don't want them to do. Again, I'm not talking about completely withdrawing from others and not interacting with them. What is ultimately needed is information from a source who knows exactly what that person needs at every given moment. Sometimes it's to say something to them, and sometimes it's to not say something to them. The one person that does know exactly what's needed is the Savior. He's already experienced what that person is going through and what will be most effective for them in the future. So getting your own natural man desires to make them, if you have your own natural man desires trying to make them change right now, and you get that out of the way, and you can receive what the Savior knows they need, that is the most effective way to help others. All right, let's cover the last codependent behavior you might be doing that's affecting your mental health. So this is not recognizing and expressing emotions. You'd be surprised how many adult women I see that have difficulty in naming and expressing how they're feeling in a healthy way. What I often see happening in relationships with emotions is when they're felt, they are expressed in unhealthy ways. That's not only harm to the relationship, but also the person who isn't able to express the emotion. I often see women not expressing their emotions at all because of a deep-seated need for approval from others. I see women who are damming up their emotions and keeping them in because they are worried about how their emotions might affect another person. First of all, your emotions are yours. If they do affect another person, that's them taking on your emotions, and that's not your responsibility to shield them from your emotions. When you can express how you're feeling in a healthy way, that person, if healthy themselves, should be able to hear you and create space for you to feel these emotions without it affecting them and vice versa for you too. Think about it. If you're walking around allowing others' emotions to affect you, then you're just really being tossed around by the wind. Also, thinking you can't express your own emotions because someone can't handle it is also holding on to burdens you don't need to hold on to. Doing this will have you thinking that your self-worth depends on what others think about you. You will also find yourself having a tendency to apologize or take on blame in order to keep the peace in a relationship. You will also be changing your mood so that it reflects how others feel around you. This can all lead to having overwhelming fears of rejection or abandonment. Can you relate with any of those feelings of those of not expressing your emotions? If you can, you might want to look at learning to identify and express your emotions in a healthy way. One of the most effective ways is to identify and express emotions is through yoking with Christ and receiving his guidance on how to do that. Remember that he's already felt what you're feeling. He knows what you're going through, and he can be the best source of wisdom in these situations. You've probably noticed that I keep saying that the most effective way to deal with these codependent behaviors that are sabotagers to your mental health is through putting the natural man to sleep and connecting with the Savior's enabling power. You might be wondering, okay, that's great, but how do I do that? What does that even look like? Well, it's important to learn skills that help you do that. My favorite skill is using revelation meditations to help put the natural man to sleep and reconnect with the Savior's revelation that you need in your unique circumstances. President David O. McKay has said that we pay too little attention to the value of meditation. Strengthening your mental health by using revelation meditations will help you to really clear your mind and have clarity in your thoughts so you can have that peace to cope with the daily stresses of life. Also, revelation meditations help you receive divine help, which increases your ability to have energy and you can work way more productively. Also, revelation meditations help you communicate your needs and desires to connect and improve relationships. And finally, revelation meditations help you to process your emotions, to create healing so you can have better self-care. Now, if you're a faithful woman who is feeling stressed, unmotivated, confused, or emotional, you can begin strengthening your mental health in just 20 minutes a day by using these revelation meditations. These revelation meditations help you pass through to the presence of the Lord and receive his enabling power of peace and energy and connection and healing. At the beginning of next month, on October 1st, I'm actually doing a 30 Days to Stronger Mental Health Challenge to help fortify and strengthen and heal your mental health for this upcoming winter. Each day of the challenge, you'll have a specific meditation that I have on a private app where you can complete the meditation to help you strengthen your mental health. You'll also receive my entire Clarity in the Chaos course that has 25 unique meditations for free when you join this challenge. And you get to use those meditations during and keep the course after the challenge is over. So as soon as you join the 30-day challenge, even though we're not starting till October 1st, you can immediately access these revelation meditations and get started. So the challenge is held on a private community app, and this is going to be a place where you can also connect with women facing similar life challenges to you. You can get your questions answered daily on the challenges that we're working through and become motivated to develop those critical mental health tools. And this is all contained in a private app away from social media distractions. So within the 30 Days to Stronger Mental Health Challenge, there's going to be weekly prizes given for completing the daily challenges and an ability to connect with other women who are experiencing similar challenges as you. So the prizes are a really great way to just motivate you and keep your focus while you're developing new and crucial habits for your mental health. So challenges also help you just develop a new habit. They provide that boost that you might need to really get started in making changes. Challenges also help you with that daily repetition to get momentum going so you can strengthen your mental health as you keep going and achieving these small successes that will create this snowball of change in your life. All right, if you're ready to join us to have stronger mental health through the challenge, then click the link in my show notes and you can get started right away with these meditations. Then, once you register for the challenge, send the link to a friend that might want to do this challenge with you so you can have awesome discussions with each other and also encourage each other in the process. All right, I hope to see you in the challenge and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the LDS Mental Health Podcast. I hope you were able to find ways of healing, guidance, and peace. If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend who would love to start thinking in a higher and holier way as well. Or hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. Also, check out the links in my show notes for other episodes you might like and links for other mental health resources on my website.